Hey, what's up, you guys? All right, so here we go. We're going to do something fun today, and we're going to go ahead and listen in on Gavin Newsom's press conference today about California. So they are just about to get started. Let's go ahead and tune in and see what's happening over there. I think this will be a lot of fun. It's my first time doing this, so let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Throw that in the chat box there in the comments. Let me know if you like this kind of stuff. If you do, give me a big thumbs up. I want to get this out to more people. I think this is going to be more interesting than the actual stream. I guess we will see. Obviously, you can watch that directly, but I think this will be cool. I think this will be a lot more fun, and I'm excited to do it. So let me know in the comments, in the chat, I should say, on this YouTube feed, what you want to hear about, what you want to see, and let's go ahead and tune in and see what they have to say here.
Everyone to Oakland, California. It's the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, a historic location for an historic announcement. Today we are partnering the A's with the Biden-Harris administration, the governor and his esteemed leadership, our mayor, our county officials, to make this a public mass vaccination site at the Oakland Coliseum. It's a great day. We've obviously been hosting people here for generations to come to baseball games and football games and
let's mute this guy. He's not really talking about too much right now. Let's chat about and see what happens here. So they're making this a vaccination site up there, but let's see what we want to hear here. So Ricky, thank you so much. Join us to recall impeach governor. Yes, for sure. And the way you can do that, by the way, is go to recallgavin2020.com. Great governor, I love that. Okay, so let's get rid of these guys and let me just chat with you guys. Let's see. So again, it's my first time doing this, so bear with me. We're going to do this live. So let's go right over here. I will get you guys back over to. I will get you guys back over to the feed as soon as Gavin Newsom comes up. I don't think we want to talk about these guys. By the way, you know what's interesting to me, I will talk about for just a second, is they're turning all of these testing sites in California into vaccination sites. And then what they're doing is they're saying that the cases of COVID are decreasing. So I'm no rocket scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm definitely not an epidemiologist, however you say that. But I know that if you test less people, if you turn the sites where you used to test people into vaccination sites, you are going to get less cases. And Newsom really changed the rules continuously on us here throughout the whole pandemic, and went from talking about infections and deaths and things like that to cases. Which really, as a kind of a layperson, not a doctor, makes no sense to me because, hey, listen, there's cases of the flu, there's cases of the common cold. I'm not saying that COVID is the flu, but what I am saying is that if you have more cases, that doesn't necessarily mean that there are more issues, there are more hospitalizations, there are more deaths. So I thought that was always an interesting way that Newsom switched around the statistics and use them to politicize the pandemic, which has really been a terrible thing here in California. What we've been talking about in California, of course, is school closures, business closures. I've done a lot and covered that a lot on my YouTube channel. You guys really seem to like those videos. If you want more of those videos, give me a thumbs up. Let's go, guys. Let's get this stream out to more and more people. I would really love that. Great comment here from Neighborhood Cat Lady. Amazing, isn't it? Election over. No need for test case data anymore. Exactly. That's actually what I was going to talk about next, you guys. And so, leading up to the election, of course, there was so much craziness around cases and we need to close everything. And then all of a sudden, the election is over. We don't really need to politicize this anymore. And so what do you know? Last week, Newsom came out and lifted the stay-at-home order. Now, I will tell you, he hasn't reopened. I keep hearing people say, he's reopened California. That's not the case. Listen, to be honest, guys, no one was really following this stay-at-home order anymore anyway. People were doing whatever they want to do and all of that good stuff. So currently, even though California and a lot of counties are in a lower tier, which I'm sure he will talk about today, right now, by the way, on the stream, they're talking about turning the Oakland Coliseum into a vaccination site. Okay, here comes Newsom. Let's get him on. Let's get him on. Let's see what he has to say. Here we go.
We look county
by county, here we go.
All 58 counties here in the state of California. One county stands out in terms of their speed to administration, taking vaccines and getting people vaccinated, and that's Alameda County. So I want to just recognize their partnership, their stewardship, their commitment to the cause that unites us here today. The cause that unites us here today has been amplified by.
All right, so let's see what Gavin has to say here, guys.
Biden. We are pleased and privileged, as they announced earlier in their press conference nationally, to identify here California as one of their first pilot sites for over 100 community sites, large mass distribution vaccine centers all across the United States. California will be launching not just this site here in Oakland, but also a site down in Los Angeles at Cal State LA. The whole idea is to speed up the throughput, the efficiency, maintain an equitable lens in terms of the application and distribution of the vaccines. Equity is the call of this moment. The reason this site was chosen was the framework of making sure that communities.
So it's not vaccinating everyone, it's equity is the main thing that Gavin talks about. I mean, the pandering by this guy to me is just totally crazy. Let's get back to this dude.
We are blessed not only by the announcement of this partnership with the Biden administration, but their full federal support in terms of the allocation of the resources to help us move forward with the distribution of these vaccines. This is a partnership with FEMA and the Office of Emergency Services. We'll be working with the county and local officials, hiring local individuals from the community, creating opportunities, creating jobs for community members to distribute what we hope is a minimum of 6,000 doses a day, hoping to build from that moving forward. This again is one of many sites all up and down the state of California, but this will be the first site done in partnership with the Biden administration. None of the vaccines come from otherwise allocated vaccines that we will be receiving here.
Let's turn this guy down a little bit. So Trump had Operation Warp Speed, which developed the vaccine. Newsom wants to give all the credit to Biden. Somehow I'm not surprised.
Up and operational. We hope to have this site up and operational in the next number of weeks. The set goal, 16th of February, to get this site operational. If you're interested in accessing this site, we are launching in a few weeks as well statewide a new app called My Turn that we have piloted in Los Angeles and San Diego. The pilot's been operating.
Hey, Riva, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'm going to put that up there. You guys, by the way, I do appreciate the support of the channel. One way you could support the channel for sure is through super much. Riva, I appreciate that. We'll leave that up there for just a little while. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's put it up again. Thank you so much. All right, let's get back to Gavin here.
Partnership. It will provide transparency. It will provide us a higher level of accountability and ultimately allow us more efficient, effective, targeted throughput in terms of the administration of the vaccines. So you can go to My Turn today here in Alameda County and you can get the notification benefits. The scheduling benefits will be online in a few weeks. But nonetheless, it is a site that's available for registration and ultimately for scheduling.
Claire, totally agree. By the way, guys, if you want to sign the petition to recall Gavin Newsom, that is recall Gavin 2020. I'm going to put that in here in the chat box.
To this virus is up. Everything that should be down is down. Let me be specific. A month ago,
okay, so let's listen to this.
Of January, we had a historically high number of cases reported in the state of California, over 60,000 cases. Today, we report 10,501 cases. 60,000 less than a month ago, 10,000 cases reported today. Our positivity rate peaked, the 7-day positivity rate peaked on January 7th at 14.3%. It's now down to 6.1%, more than half a reduction in the positivity rate in less than a month in this state. Today's reported number, when you look at a 2-week
Claire, I love that.
line,
I love that comment.
ICUs and hospitalizations. Hospitalizations are down 29.5%, 30%
Okay, that's
decline
good.
in a 2-week period.
That's a good thing.
Hospitalizations, and a 21.5%, 22% rounded up decline in ICUs in this state. This does not mean we're out of the woods. Many are talking about this new variant, this new mutation. Many are talking about the UK variant, South African variant, and also this West Coast variant. We have done just shy of 12,000 sequences of genomics in the state of California. State leads this country in genomics sequencing. We have had a bird's eye view from day one in terms of some of these variants and mutations. Today we have 150 reported UK variants here in the state of California, 960 West Coast variants, and there are 2 versions, 2 mutations in this state, 1429, 1427. That's neither here nor there, except to say we're monitoring that variant, monitoring the UK variant, and we currently have no South African variants to report.
Great comments there. Thank you, guys. You can throw your comments here.
Virulence, the transmissibility of those variants are obviously of concern, and that's why we have to be cautious. That's why we have to continue to be mindful. That's why we have to continue to do the things that we all know we need to do in terms of physical distancing and wearing our masks and maintaining hygiene and doing the good work that we've done to, be more vigilant at this moment, perhaps than any other moment, because we see the light at the end of the tunnel. With these vaccines, with these case rates declining, we see light at the end of the tunnel. In order to get our businesses open, in order to get our schools open, which we are committed to getting our schools open for in-person instruction, to do that
well, then
more
open them up, man.
More expeditiously.
Right.
We need to continue the good work we have done in this state to continue to see that case rate decline, these ICU and hospitalizations.
So guys, the teachers unions are so in Gavin's pocket. He keeps talking about opening up the schools. I have 3 kids that can't go to school because of this guy's idiotic requirements to reopen.
While that's good, it's not good enough. We were in the 40s, high 40s, in terms of our national ranking. We were in the high 30s. We're now in the high 20s. We're moving in the right direction. We're above the national average. We don't want to be average.
No,
we want to do
Jason,
more
the schools won't open. This is a great comment.
Focus.
And the
we
reason,
have a new framework.
Let me mute this guy for just a second.
Aggressive. We're enforcing rules and regulations. We're reallocating vaccines that are not.
There we go. So the reason, guys, that the schools aren't going to reopen, I just want to point this out real quick. Let me just go to my camera here. The school situation is absurd. The teachers' unions are dictating when the schools are going to reopen, not the state. And the list of demands that the teachers' unions have to get the schools reopened are so absurd. I've seen this list. It is amazing the things they're asking for. Medicare for all, insurance, pay raises, close the charter schools. First they started saying that teachers need to get vaccinated. Now they're saying, as of the latest that I saw, that they want the kids to be vaccinated. They want the families to be vaccinated. Only then will they agree to reopen public schools. So if you have kids, by the way, if you have kids that are trying to go to school, give me a thumbs up on this video. Let me know in the comment section. But if you have kids that are trying to go to school, I got to tell you, it's going to be a very, very long road here in California. Especially with public schools. So that's going to be a big problem. Let's go ahead and get back to the Gav man. See what he has to say.
We recognize what you recognize. There are parts of the state that are already running out of vaccines, where they're throttling back in terms of their dose allocation because they're running out. Federal government doesn't have the doses to support states like ours at the scale we all would like to see. We are limited on the basis of supply. This week, we will receive 1,060,000 doses of the vaccine. That's encouraging.
All right, hey, that's good.
We are
although they are wasting a lot of them, guys.
Vaccines being administered at this moment a week, and so we certainly can keep up with that rate. This is a flywheel. We'll only increase that pace and distribution, but it's an encouraging sign. And we, of course, will be looking, as every other state, every other governor in this nation, looking forward to the single-dose vaccine, not just Moderna and Pfizer and the 2-dose regimens, but the Johnson & Johnson that can't come soon enough that will ultimately help really fast track.
Gina, great comment. I'm with you. I hope everyone knows where the petition is there.
Beyond perhaps my allotted time.
Petition is just at here. I'm going to put it in here for you.
That on February 11th, the Biden administration, in partnership with pharmacies all across the nation, will be allowing direct allocations to pharmacies for.
So we're talking a lot about the vaccine here. Just want to point out, guys, as far as Gavin goes and the recall effort, which we've been talking a lot about on my channel. If you're not a fan of Gavin, give me a thumbs up if you're not a fan. And basically, the recall effort's going strong. We're at like 1.3 million signatures out of 1.5. And so once we get there, I'm going to do a video on this because I've been getting a lot of questions about what happens once the petition is fully signed. Essentially, in a nutshell, there's going to be a recall election where anyone can run. If you guys were here in California when Arnold Schwarzenegger ran a long time ago, there were about, I think, over 130 candidates that put their name in the ring and hat in the ring, I should say, for governor. Arnold ended up winning that special election. Now, I will tell you that Gavin Newsom can run again, and there is no limit on how much money he can spend. So, make no mistake, Gavin's got a lot of money. He's very well connected, obviously very influential family with Nancy Pelosi and everyone else that's involved here in California. So, just because we get the recall petition signed doesn't mean that Gavin will necessarily be out, but we will have a special election. Again, anyone can run. I believe the former mayor of San Diego just said that he's going to run. He's a Republican. We have a lot of other good candidates that we'll be talking about here on upcoming videos. So let's jump back in.
With the federal government, and for that,
still talking about vaccines here.
To the Biden-Harris administration. With that, let me introduce your senator, Senator Nancy Skinner.
I love that. I love that he's given all the credit to Biden. Biden literally just got here.
Thank you,
Trump
Governor Newsom.
warp
Thank
speeded
you, thank you,
everything,
federal administration.
And Gavin
thank you, Mayor
keeps
Schaaf
defending
and all the,
the Biden administration. It's just insane.
Governor Newsom just gave some great data.
All right, let's see what she's going to talk about here.
In California, the improvement that has been made. Everyone knows the just horrific surge of COVID and the number of deaths that California was
Thanks for being on, Terrence. Thanks for joining us here. Appreciate that.
Hospitals due to the high number of COVID cases.
So we're still talking about vaccines, hospitals, things like that.
Is that it is Governor Newsom that we can thank for that drop.
Oh,
yes,
geez.
The public followed the orders, but if that public health
I mean, that's just hilarious. Like, I don't know who believes this nonsense.
Of the stay-at-home had not gone into effect, and their medical professionals just released a report documenting this, that if that had not gone into effect, we would not have made the improvements that we made. And
yes,
while
it was
all
all
of us
about
are frustrated,
Newsom.
We want to be able to, sit outside and get a meal or do the other things. We're tired of this pandemic. We're tired of this virus. We are doing the right things in California under Governor Newsom's leadership, and we have brought that surge down.
Right.
And now it's upon all of us to make sure that we keep that surge down and that we go about our engagement in the new activities that are opened up again, but we do them as carefully as possible, and we wear our masks and we keep our distance so that we keep those COVID rates down. But I really just want to thank Governor Newsom for that. And now, what a relief that we have a new administration and that we now have some order to this vaccination rollout.
Right.
Under President Biden, look, anybody watching the news, every single state is frustrated. When are we going to get our vaccine?
Okay, I don't know if I could take this lady for much longer. So let me tell you something that's really interesting. People, it's so crazy to me how people twist statistics around, right? So let's talk, obviously, listen, this is not a pure political video. I really want to see what Gavin has to say about the state, but this is funny, by the way, funny comments. Yeah, 3 or 4 masks might be better for sure. Thank you guys all, by the way, for being here. I really appreciate you checking out my reaction to the stream. We've got Gavin Newsom talking about what's going on. Really, the quick summary of what he said is that, of course, Biden is responsible for everything good that has happened here with COVID, and Trump is to blame for everything. We've heard that rhetoric for about a year, so nothing new there. Then this lady gets on and talks about, the fact that now under Biden, everything is going so smoothly. So I want to share with you guys how you can manipulate statistics. You could do this in your own life if you want to. So here's how you manipulate statistics, guys. So it's funny, I went over this with my kids the other day. So they keep saying that under Biden, they are rolling out so many vaccines. Their goal is 1 million vaccines a day, whereas Trump was only averaging 500,000 vaccines a day. They've doubled the vaccine count. But check this out, guys. I'm going to show you how you can manipulate statistics. So what's interesting is that when you take an average of the vaccines that were rolled out under Trump, let's say over a 2-month period or however long it was that the vaccine was out, let's call it a month. I think it was more like a month, right? So they started out at 0, right? So watch this. They started out at 0, and by the end of that month, they were distributing about 1 million vaccines a day. When you take an average, it's going to average 500,000 because they started at 0, guys. So then when Biden takes over, he goes, well, now we're going to distribute 1 million. They only distributed 500,000. Do you see how that makes no sense? It's just pure stupidity. It's changing statistics to say whatever you want them to say. I mean, it's just total nonsense. All right, let's see who this is and see what he has to say. That lady was terrible, by the way.
I want to say, first of all, thank you to President Biden. Thank you to Vice President, our own Kamala Harris.
I mean, do they give these guys like the script? Yes, FEMA. Thank you to Biden.
Thank you to the Biden administration for this opportunity. I also want to say a big thank you to our governor, Gavin Newsom. Our counties and I have had an opportunity to work with Gavin Newsom since he's been governor.
I love this.
He has always been present around the flooding that has been taking place and keeping local government in the loop and involved in that, around the fires that we've had. And since this pandemic has hit this country, since last March, Governor Newsom, his administration, the healthcare agency director, Director Ghali, and others have been on calls almost every single week regarding this pandemic. I know that at least I've been on 3 calls.
Jessica, this is a good point. So Jessica points out that this administration lost 20 million doses of the vaccine. So, there have been so many doses of the vaccine that have been lost, which is really a tragedy. And on top of that, they're not, they're wasting them every day. I mean, I know that there are people that are trying to get them. And when you call these vaccination sites, they say, oh, well, you're not on the list or you don't have an appointment. So we'd rather throw it away than give it to someone that can get it. And, Gavin and these folks keep talking about equity, and they keep pandering to the underprivileged communities with these conversations, which, to me are just totally ridiculous. Like, hey, let's give it to who we can give it to. I mean, listen, if I were running the show, it'd be like, if we have vaccines and we're out of people to give them to, just give them to someone, man. I mean, why waste these things? It just makes no sense. So it's just craziness. And then someone just talked about homelessness. There we go. So the good doctor who's on our show here said, thank you for creating more homelessness. Yeah, I mean, homelessness in California and Southern California, where I am, is just insanity. The craziness. And Gavin is not, they don't know how to solve this problem. I mean, they have so much money and they just waste it. They burn it, basically. They throw it down the drain instead of actually coming up with good solutions. I know that's not what we're talking about today. This is, whoops, sorry about that, guys. This is more, we're talking about state of California and COVID and pandemic and stuff. But the thing I'll say is with the homeless situation, they're trying to build housing here in Southern California that is costing them like $600,000, $750,000 or more per unit. Instead of actually solving the problem. So, Gavin's too busy worrying about combustion engine cars in the year 2035. Like, he's solving problems that aren't problems today, and instead focusing on other stuff. All right, let's get back to it. Here comes the Gav man again.
Supervisor, again, thank you for your outstanding work, and thank you for your generous words and your credible leadership. We are happy now, of course, to take any questions. I want to just also recognize someone who's not here, but has been instrumental in getting this partnership developed, and that's Bob Fenton, our regional director at FEMA, has just been an extraordinary partner through multiple administrations. And of course, Mark Ghilarducci, the head of our Office of Emergency Services. As I noted, this site is being stood up in partnership with the Office of Emergency Services and FEMA, and we'll have the support of staff that includes members of this community. Happy to take any questions.
All right, let's see what people ask him. I wonder if these will be real questions or like spoon-fed questions, like how's the weather, like they asked Biden. Rosemary, yeah, the homeless situation is just awful. It's unbelievably bad. Every underpass in LA and in California.
We have been told that these allocations will allow for us to get up to 6,000 doses administered on a daily basis, and that all of the requisite supports, not just the doses themselves, the vials, but all of the PPE and related support will be provided by the federal government in an additive manner, not in a way that takes away from
JG, I just responded to this. Let me turn this down a little bit. $31 billion in unemployment fraud, guys, in California under Gavin Newsom.
That those doses will be forthcoming, and those supports will continue, not just episodically, not just for the kickoff of this site, but for the weeks and months ahead.
And you said that the state began its planning around vaccine distribution back in April, but obviously in recent weeks there's been a number of significant changes to the state's planning. Can you point to a place where that...
Yeah, I mean, you know, forest management, I mean, let's not talk about that. I mean, the fires are all climate change and Trump's fault. The fires, guys, are Trump's fault. I just want you guys to know that.
Treaded system, one that's been designed and developed over the course of quite literally decades. And that's the system that's very familiar to Californians. And that's the 19 or so million flu vaccines that are administered on an annual basis. And the vaccine regimens that exist and persist for other vaccines.
I love these questions that he gets. I mean, they're so spoon-fed. Like, ask the guy a real question. You know, the lack of a unbiased media is really hurting us, guys, everywhere. Obviously nationally, but you know, California as well. I mean, look at these questions. Like, if I'm in the audience, I'm going to ask him some of these questions that we're getting on our chat here, not these ridiculous questions.
Certain counties outperforming, certain counties that were not performing as well.
I would ask him about reopening schools. This is so terrible for kids. Reopening restaurants that are going out of business. Why is no one asking him about this stuff?
Partnership to allow the counties to lead on equity, but we realize the sophistication that's needed in a framework of episodic distributions from the federal government where there's not certainty in terms of supply and the issue of scarcity being in front of us in the next few weeks. Mindful of all of that, we wanted to develop a different framework, and that's what we're doing to build off the existing framework with this third-party administrator. And no one better than Oakland's own headquartered company, one of the largest nonprofits in the state, Blue Shield, that is in the network management business. And they have a provider network of over 64,000. And their capacity to do data analytics, their capacity to hold providers accountable, to do payment processing and incentives is second to none. And so we want to build on that expertise. And that was developed over the course of this iterative process and the application of these efforts. And I can assure you, talking to governors as I do quite literally, not on a weekly basis, a daily basis, every state is iterating in this process based upon unique conditions and challenges that all of us face.
Reva,
sure, you've seen there was some statewide public polling released yesterday. 2 surveys both showing low public approval of the state and your administration's vaccine rollout.
Oh, here we go. That's a good question.
What's your reaction to that? Yes. How do you rebuild public confidence in the distribution process?
We've tripled the number of vaccines being distributed. We're here today to mark the first partnership.
Oh my God, this guy's answering a vaccine question. The guy asked him about public opinion.
Not only here in Northern California, but in Southern California. Our vaccination efforts have gone, as I said, from the high 40s.
Did you guys catch that?
30s.
Did you guys catch that?
We are making progress.
This guy asked him, he said, hey, your approval rating is down. By the way, his approval rating, they say, is down to 46% from 64%. We all know polls aren't really that great, but he asked him about that and how do you rebuild confidence, and he started talking about the vaccine again. He's not even answering the question.
Those numbers, those vaccination numbers continue to increase, and we are mindful that we have to get more support and supply, not just from federal administration, but more support and supply directly from these manufacturers, not least of which Johnson & Johnson, which we believe will be a game changer and allow us throughput with that single dose regimen that will ultimately allow us as a nation, not just as a state, to turn the corner.
And on the decision to partner with Blue Shield on distribution, what does the state think Blue Shield will be able to accomplish that others can't? And given the quick timetable of bringing them on board, the contracting process, how do you respond to any criticism that Blue Shield might be being favored for its political
I don't know who this
support
reporter is, but I like this guy. Second question.
Partnership with Blue Shield that was developed by a team of experts. We've got dozens and dozens of individuals that are working on our vaccine rollout.
Did you guys catch that? He will not answer the questions.
We have got a distribution advisory committee, what we refer to as the guidelines working group. We got a team of experts. Everybody came together looking at what's working, what's not working, and we identified 2 partners, in particular 2 nonprofits, Kaiser and Blue Shield, both offering unique experience, well-established companies here in the state of California. They have the kind of scale, they have the capacity, they have the allocation distribution mindset that we were looking for, and that's why the team partnership, and I concurred.
Governor, the CDC has said that teachers do not have to be vaccinated in order to
here we go.
safely
This
reopen
reporter is
schools.
awesome.
I'm wondering what you make of calls from some teacher unions in the state who disagree with that guidance. And also, where do negotiations stand with the legislature over the short-term budget plan to reopen schools? And with the Senate budget chair here, perhaps I'd love to get your perspective as well.
I want to safely reopen schools, and I don't want to do it episodically. I want to do it in a sustainable way. I believe you can safely reopen schools in this environment. One we've put out in terms of a framework to the legislature is a plan that includes $6.6 billion of early.
I mean, this guy will not answer one question. So I'm really digging this reporter that's asking him the tough questions. I don't know who that is. We should find out. But he won't answer them. Real quick, guys, I want to say thank you, Jason. Thanks so much for the super chat, man. I so appreciate it. $25. Wow, man. Thank you so much. Guys, you can support the channel with super chats. And Jason says, Gavin is the golden position in the Golden State. Education is taken over. Medi-Cal is being taken over. Business in where'd it go? Business in, wrong one. Hold on. Boom. Business in California is 100% over. What a relief that your life away is over. Gavin will not be dethroned. Man, I hope we can get him out because this is just awful. I mean, he won't answer a damn question. It's crazy. Thanks, Jason. I really appreciate your support, man. And by the way, I got a story for you guys that Jason brought to our attention yesterday. So, you know what? Let's do that now because I muted Gavin. So, actually, let me mute him over here.
In those negotiations.
And let me tell you guys. So, you guys want to hear about something crazy? Jason brought to our attention about another video I did where I used a word on the thumbnail that YouTube may not have liked, and the video wasn't getting very many views. And so Jason brought that to my attention. We switched it up. This is the last video we just did on YouTube that I just talked about with taxes. And once we switched that up, the video took off. And so it's just crazy what's going on in the world right now, especially with social media and stuff like that. So be careful out there, guys. I know a lot of you kind of think the same way that I think. And when you're watching this stuff, it's just amazing that something you have on a thumbnail could completely demonetize or not show. So that's just wild. So Jason, thank you, man. That really helped us out. So I so appreciate the super chat. All right, let's see if Gavin has anything good to say.
Chair
Facetiously, I say that.
Talk a little bit about what their timelines look like, but I'm very encouraged by the progress.
Oh, he's done. Won't answer any questions.
Thank you, Governor. No one in their right mind wants to get COVID-19. So, of course, we have legitimate concerns by whether it's teachers, parents, what have you, around if we're going to open schools, let's do it safely. But I'm confident, and we know, the governor wants the schools open safely,
sure.
Our schools want to open safely, and the legislature wants to get schools open safely. And we're just hammering out the details to do that, and I'm confident we'll get there.
It's that same spirit that that brought the legislature and this administration together on the evictions protections. We have the resolve, we have the mindset, we have the relationships. I'm confident that we will land this thing and very, very soon.
And Governor, I'd love to get your reaction to your home city and county of San Francisco.
Oh, it's our guy.
SFUSD,
Who's
saying it lacks a clear reopening plan. Might that be a consequence if there isn't this kind of state framework established? You see more local governments kind of acting on their own in this manner.
Well, we're putting out a statewide framework, providing an unprecedented amount of support. By the way, our budget that we submitted has the highest level of funding in the history of the state of California for K through 12 education. We are providing above our minimum mandate under Prop 98 billions of additional resources, and we are working very, very closely with the legislature on pulling forward $6.6 billion in an early action package to address the issue of learning loss. Learning loss can be addressed at the local level with the kind of flexibility that San Francisco Unified, Oakland Unified are looking for. Learning loss may include extending into the summer, may include extending the school day. It may include extending the supports by providing more counselors and more intensive mentorship. We have no idea what each and every district needs versus every other district. There's 1,050 of them. But we have one fundamental recognition. They need more resources and they need flexibility. And that's exactly what we're providing. And we're very hopeful those city, county, district issues will be substantially abated and resolved with the support that this package provides.
And Governor, just to follow, is that argument of having a prerequisite of all teachers being vaccinated to return?
Dude, this reporter is badass.
He's not a non-starter. I'd love to have everybody in the state vaccinated that chooses to be vaccinated. I'd like to prioritize. Not only would I like to prioritize teachers, we are prioritizing teachers.
Look at Gavin squirm out of that question.
Guidelines 1B that prioritizes teachers. We have age cohort.
Hey, Lost Knowledge, thanks, man. This is my Texas fan right here. Thank you so much for that support. I really appreciate that. And I saw your comment earlier. I meant to put it up on the screen, but I didn't get a chance. Where was it? There was some here, but I didn't see that. And also, JG, thanks so much for the super chat, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. He said, we like you, Danny. Keep up the good work. I so appreciate your support of the channel and of what I'm doing. Really enjoying bringing you guys some real stuff here and not just the spoon-fed things from the politicians. So good stuff, man. Really appreciate that. Let's keep listening here.
Safe and keep our kids safe at the same time. So we are aligned with the thinking of the Biden administration.
I'm wondering if you can share any key lessons that you've learned from other places where vaccine distribution is going well, either states or even locales in California like Long Beach.
Well, Long Beach has been a great partner to the state, been a great example to the state. Mayor Garcia and I just did a call together talking about what's working, what challenges they're having. Every part of the state, there's a best practice. I noted here, Alameda County, 94+% in this morning's report of the vaccines that have been delivered have been administered. There's some counties as low as 22%, which is just unacceptable. So we're learning from those counties, not just other states. We're learning from providers. We're learning from our partnerships that include Kaiser and Sutter and others, what's working, what's not. So every single day, we take those lessons in. We have a work group. We begin the day talking about vaccines. We spend most of the day in a vaccine framework, and we end the night about what we learned from the rest of the day in terms of an all-hands call. And every day, we're improving and iterating.
Question on youth sports. I'm wondering if you can react to the lawsuit filed by 2 high school student athletes in the San Diego area. They are seeking an immediate return to competition. I'm wondering if you could provide the latest on any discussion you're having with youth sports leaders, whether you expect a change in the rules to allow high school and other youth sports leagues to perhaps begin playing sooner than current rules allow.
Well, last week we made an announcement and that allowed for youth sports like track and field to take place. So just to level set, we are and we have provided a framework to allow certain youth sports to
haven't heard about that, but okay.
Competition. That said, we have been in very direct conversations. Personally, I launched those conversations last week. My team is in constant contact, trying to work through these different tiers. In the red tier, you'll start seeing baseball. In subsequent tiers, we'll get to football. But I'll be honest with you, a lot of this is driven by football and folks wanting to get a football season in. And I'm deeply sensitive to that. As I said, I not only have 4 kids that want to get educated, but that love sports. And so I recognize all of the benefits, physical and mental, as well as the benefits to teachers and parents that have kids that are engaged in physical activities in terms of our responsibility to support those children as well. And so we want to see this happen. We want to do it safely. And a lot of great data has been provided by the same groups that are suing us. And if I was concerned about lawsuits, I would have collapsed a year ago. We receive dozens of them every week. And some of them from folks that are very close to us. So it's clarifying, allows for focus. Some are specious and political. Others, like this, I think are quite legitimate in terms of what they ultimately want to achieve. I share that, and we are processing that. And I'm very hopeful. I really mean this. I'm very, very hopeful that we can find a compromise here. And I believe
the compromise is reopen the state.
As long as these case rates continue to move in the direction they're moving.
Right.
Governor, last question for you today. Your run of appointments is not yet done. When it comes to Attorney General, what factors are you considering as you weigh a potential appointment?
Badass.
What do you see as the priority for that position in the next 2 years?
I think there are 5 candidates for Attorney General behind me. Maybe this is kind of like I don't know. I don't want. We can make this like a reality TV show. You can ask them some tough questions, and we'll see how they perform. I'm very close to making that decision. Some extraordinary people that
more of Gavin Newsom's sheep
not only
in every position in California. You know, this is the problem, guys.
Consideration that I believe would make outstanding Attorney General, but we're very close to making that decision. Here's a consideration that is quite sincere, and I want to make this public in a more contemporary terms. Our current Attorney General is still the current Attorney General, has not been formally confirmed by the United States Senate. And so the timing of a public announcement will be determined on the basis of that confirmation. And so just know that. We hope that happens sooner, I certainly do, than later. With that, let me thank everybody again for being here. Thank the incredible leadership in Oakland and Alameda County, and thank you to the Oakland A's for opening up this site. Thank you, everybody.
All right, I think that's probably going to do it. Let's see if anyone else talks. I don't think they will, and then we'll do a little wrap-up and summary of this. Nope, that's it. Okay, so let's go back to this. Okay, guys, so first and foremost, I really want to thank you guys for being here. This is kind of a new thing for me that that I wanted to try out and comment on Gavin Newsom's press conference about California vaccinations, COVID-19, reopening of the state, and all of that good stuff. Okay, so my mom's on, and she says that I speak much better than Gavin and that I should run for this position. So maybe, except for the fact that my wife doesn't want me to do it. But you know what's interesting is that he is going to get recalled, guys. So if you haven't seen, and I think at this point everyone pretty much knows, there's a recall petition happening. Let me show that to you in the screen here. Let's go there. Let me show that to you. Heather, thanks. Heather says run for governor too. Well, you guys have to convince my wife Elena. She's not into it. She doesn't want our life to be so public. Jay, thanks, man. Thanks for being on. Really appreciate that. You guys who gave the super chats, I so appreciate you. We had JG and let's see, we had Jason with the super chats. Thank you guys so much. So let me show this to you guys real quick. So this is the recall petition. If you go to, let me just zoom out a little bit. So if you go to Recall Gavin 2020, this is the website. And as you could see, I think over 1.3 million petitions have already been signed. The goal is 1.8, 1.5 is required. I think the reason, by the way, guys, don't stop sending these in. If you haven't sent it in and you're thinking that, hey, we're already close, so I don't need to, this is kind of that same thinking that happened in November in the presidential race that might have hurt a certain candidate, and also the same thinking that hurt the Georgia Senate races. So if you're in California, if you're not a fan of Gavin Newsom, of everything that he's done, of keeping the state closed, of not letting kids play sports, of not letting businesses reopen and all this other BS, then sign the petition. So there are a lot of signing places you can go to. They're all over the place. And then you can also download the petition right here at Recall Gavin 2020. And once we get to 1.5, the reason, guys, that we want to get to more, to 1.8, is because they have to audit all the signatures. And so unlike the election in November, in this case, they have to audit all the signatures and make sure that these are actual voters, that the address matches. And believe it or not, they are very strict on the recall petition, unlike last November. And so we want to get to more, because then what will happen is we'll be able to make sure that we get the recall going. Once the recall happens, I'm going to do a video about this because I got like 5 questions on it yesterday on what happens. But basically, in a nutshell, what happens is that there's going to be a special election. So after they audit the signatures, whoever wants to run, and guys, anyone can run. I can run. Thank you guys for all the support. I really appreciate that. Let's go back over here. So I really appreciate that. Riva says Danny for governor also. So I don't know if my wife Elena is watching, but Elena, if you're watching, we got lots of support for my run. So anyway, after the petitions are signed, they're going to audit the signatures, and then anyone can throw their hat in the ring to run for governor. I believe there's going to be a time period to enter your name in there, and then afterwards, everyone runs in a special election runoff. So there's no parties, there's no primaries, it's just everyone on the ballot. And last time, if you remember, I was here when now Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger ran. And there were so many people on the ballot. I mean, I remember there were adult film stars on the ballot. And there were like over 130 people on there, and Arnold won that special election. Now, the catch is, guys, Newsom can run, of course, again in the special election, and he can raise as much money as he wants. And so that's going to be the big challenge. So don't think that just because we get the recall signed that he's definitely out. But I will tell you that it is going to be a fantastic, great start to at least get that recall petition and show everyone that, we're not going to do this. And hopefully, guys, turn the state back in the right direction. Now, of course, the challenge, yes, Reva, I believe Nancy Pelosi is Newsom's aunt or somewhere in the family tree there, which doesn't surprise me. But, what I was going to say is that, with this recall, with everything that's happening, Gavin has appointed so many people in California with his backwards way of thinking of more taxes, more regulations, all of this other pandering mumbo jumbo and all this kind of stuff that they're talking about, that, California has a long way to go to turn around. A lot of people have asked me, by the way, what Rosemary said, Pelosi's an insane witch. I love that. Good stuff, Rosemary. So, a lot of people have asked me, like, Danny, why do you hate California? Let me tell you, I don't. I love California. Like, look, I grew up here. My parents came here when I was a kid. My mom, I think, is watching the show, came from Russia to the U.S. and to L.A. When I was a kid. I've grown up here. I love the state. My parents, by the way, have bailed already. They're off in Florida most of the time. So, I love the state. I hate to see what's going on here. And that's why I'm making all these videos. That's why I'm doing these things, because I hate to see the direction that the state is going in with the overtaxing, the over-regulations, the teachers' unions and other political groups in the pocket of all of the politicians. I mean, when we say we need to drain the swamp, we need to drain the swamp big time, right? And by the way, Jason, you are 100% right. I mean, for Newsom, for Pelosi, for all these guys, they're lining their pockets. They're getting paid. Look, this whole time while the businesses were closed, they're still getting paid. They didn't miss a day of pay, while restaurants, small businesses, and everyone else is going out of business in the state. It's really just a nightmare of what's happening. And it is sad. Yeah, for sure, Jason. It is sad, definitely. Our good doctor says make Sacramento accountable again. Yeah, they're not accountable to anything. They really aren't accountable to anything, and that's the problem. So, quick summary, guys. If you joined us late, this was a recap a reaction live to Gavin Newsom's press conference. I believe he does these weekly, and so as long as he's doing them, I'm going to jump on and comment on these. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys for jumping on here. I want to thank you for the super chats. Quick note, I got a great video coming out later today on YouTube about the national wealth tax that is being proposed. So if you saw my other video on the California wealth and exit tax, in California they're proposing their own wealth and exit tax. The national level, they're trying to introduce that as well. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about why that is a terrible thing for everyone. So even if you don't think it applies to you, I guarantee you that it applies to you. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, bell notification, so you find out. But that'll be coming out later today. Be looking forward to getting you guys all kinds of other awesome content here on the channel. So thanks for tuning in here for this hour and spending it with me. I really, really appreciate it, guys. Each and every one of you. I so appreciate your support, your comments, and super chats for sure for supporting the channel. So thanks, guys. I'll see you guys later today on my video that'll come out later, and we'll keep doing these lives. I appreciate it. Everyone have a great day.